Mr. Speaker, last week the House spoke quite clearly on the question of Libya during the debate on the FY 2012 National Defense Authorization Act. By a vote of 415 to 5 on a bipartisan amendment offered by Congressman Conyers, the House voted against U.S. deploying ground troops in Libya. So the House has clearly stated its position on U.S. military operations in Libya. But that vote did not touch upon two serious matters, each very much connected to the other. First is the fact that the President did not seek a congressional authorization for U.S. military engagement in Libya in coordination with our NATO allies, nor did the leadership of this House insist on one or pursue one. Second, under the War Powers Resolution, the President has not sought the authorization of Congress during the required time period to maintain U.S. armed forces in military operations in Libya. Simply put, under the War Powers Resolution, the President must obtain congressional authorization for military action that lasts longer than 60 days. If Congress does not authorize military action, the President must withdraw troops within 30 days. The 60-day authorization deadline expired on May 20, and the 30-day withdrawal deadline expires on June 19th. Therefore, the Congress now has the responsibility to call for the end of U.S. military operations in the absence of a clearly defined authorization for U.S. military operations in Libya. Last night, Mr. Speaker, the Rules Committee considered two resolutions, one offered by Representatives Kucinich, Burton, and Capuano, which clearly addresses the violation of the War Powers Resolution and would require the withdrawal of U.S. forces from military operations in Libya. If passed by the House and the Senate, it would have the force of law. The other, offered by the Speaker of the House, is a simple H-Res, a non-binding resolution, a document which is simply advisory in nature and relevant only as a statement of the House, which reprimands the President for failing to seek proper authorization for our military operations in Libya, asks for reports to provide the House with necessary information regarding national security interests and costs of the Libya operation, and then does nothing. Nothing, Mr. Speaker. It again shirks the responsibility of this House and this Congress as a whole to either take up and pass an authorization for U.S. military operations in Libya or pass a resolution requiring a withdrawal of U.S. forces and an end to U.S. military operations in Libya. Mr. Speaker, it's easy to complain. It's easy to lay blame. But it takes leadership to own up to our own responsibility for action. And it takes leadership to handle this process in a responsible way. Frankly, Mr. Speaker, this process does not do that. The Republican leadership rushed their resolution through the Rules Committee without any hearings and without any markup, violating their 3-day pledge to allow people to read the bill. So much for the new open House of Representatives. This would be sad, Mr. Speaker, if it weren't so important. War is a serious issue. Whether we are sending unmanned drones, armed jets, or American soldiers into harm's way, war must be debated and considered by the Congress in a responsible manner. The Republican leadership, however, is not treating this issue the way it deserves to be treated. This debate deserves better, quite frankly. The American people deserve better. I urge my colleagues to defeat this rule, and I reserve the balance of my time.